They get Morgan Tracy.
Let me pick myself up right quick, then.
Shit, don't amaze me.
All right, Bernie, you hosting this one, buddy.
Me? Face out.
Fuck allergies.
Let me go and pull it up, man.
What's good, chat? Stupid ass.
I'll be right back.
How many people got in here? Turn the comments on right quick.
Same.
Dane. Is Dane gonna be number one?
Hey, I gotta stay in here for my camera to be on, or can I open up the live?
I be having it on my phone. I just pull up my phone.
You can't see the live on your phone?
That's what I do.
Zach? Can you see everybody else?
I just see the 4 cameras. I don't see the live.
Yeah, he'll move it. You'll see everything else eventually.
Yeah,
okay.
Or you can just
good then.
minimize this and pull it up.
Yeah, we got everybody on here tonight, y'all. Big Dow gonna come in here and talk about how the season's going so far. He's 3-1. I had a hard time ranking him just because I felt like it was just didn't look right. But he'll explain himself. Dane might be number one.
Willie might be hurt, bro.
He might be number one. Hey. Don't hate on Dane, man. He has a good resume.
Hey, Dane is damned if he do, damned if he don't. For real.
All right. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Ready to go, man.
All right. So we're going to unveil the rankings first, and then we're going to go over conference championship odds for every conference. And then we're going to go over playoff odds. And I think that's everything. Let me double check before I put it on the screen. Yeah. So this isn't going to be like a super long show, but you good? What was that? Oh. All right. So yeah, let's move this up. Don't mind this thing. I mean, I guess we could leave this because it is a ranking show, but this is from like before. All right, so I'm gonna put the rankings up and I'm gonna let y'all explain it just because I know y'all.
Well, me and Zach, for the most part.
Yeah, I didn't do the rankings. I did the odds, so I'll speak on the odds, but I didn't do the rankings. So I'll let y'all speak on it.
All right, so we're not gonna do the slides this time. It's just gonna be all 31 users. So y'all can see where y'all are at already. But we're at 31. Obviously, it's Coach Camp. I feel like he hasn't been able to figure it out yet. I think he has only scored 28 points in a total of 5 games, which he has to figure it out. I know he wants to win more than anybody, but yeah, we got Camp at 31. Somebody else can take it from here.
You got it started.
Yeah.
I'm letting y'all talk the whole way through this because I'm gonna talk the whole playoff odds.
I don't care. I don't care.
I'm calling me. I'll be back. Keep talking. I'll be back.
But yeah, Fresno State here. We got Shane. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize how many before we did this. How many guys had 5 games? How many have 4? Like off the top of my head, I was thinking ECU would be down there, but obviously Memphis makes the most sense. But yeah, I mean at 0-5. I think also just like the quality of the losses or as big of the losses were just kind of slightly put him over Fresh. So yeah, I mean, not too much to say about the bottom 5 or so, but it's going to be a consistent theme as you see. But next, yeah, we got ECU at 29.
All right. With ECU, just the same as the other no-win users, just not much to say.
Man.
Just not a lot of points scored and a lot of points scored on them.
It's crazy how you got matched up on Trey too.
I just feel that he just hasn't showed a lot of promise offensively or defensively, so there's not much to say on Trey until he shows us otherwise.
Yeah, man.
All
At
right.
law check, it's Ajami. Hopefully, he's doing solid. We haven't seen him in a while. I know he said he was busy, um, but he hasn't really been that competitive in his games. To see Ajami start off 0-4 looks kind of rough. But I mean, whenever I was going through these rankings, it's like everybody's not doing great. I mean, obviously the top is doing what they do, and the bottom is kind of doing what they do. But I mean, some of these names are a bit surprising, and Ajami is definitely one. Before Sterling gets started on Delaware, the reason why I had him at 27 is just because when you look at one, he has a force loss coming to him, and we added it there. We didn't add Utah State's game with Boise, and we didn't add Liberty's win versus Delaware, but Delaware's loss got added. But he's been way more competitive in all of his games, more than any of the guys that we've named so far. So that was why he's 0-6, but he's ahead of these guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I think when I look at Delaware, obviously we know Ace. Some people here don't because they weren't here in year one, but you can also just go off of just, I think, like you said, like how the losses look. He was up 21-3 on UNLV, and I think it was like the first like game that he was in after being off a year against the user. Was getting excited, and I think sometimes you just forget in BYL. You kind of just have to know when to take the air out the ball. As somebody who throws a lot, he's going to spread the ball out, put a lot of different route combos on the field. I just think against a better team, you kind of just have to kind of have that put away type mentality. He could have easily won that game. So yeah, I mean him as far as like the winless teams, that's why he's at the top. I expect him to turn around at some point. I'll do Coastal as well. So at 26, this is Fred. Fred is actually my first game. And yeah, up to the first game, it was kind of hard to kind of tell the way people were going.
That's good, Savage.
Hey, timeout, bro.
Shout out to Coach Savage, man.
Shout out Savage, man.
You know it's crazy, Savage. Had your ass not been a cheater, we got a spot for you right there. That's the worst spot. Right?
At 32, your ass could have been 0-5 with the rest of them.
Yeah, you could have been here, bro.
Yeah.
But that's neither here. They had to unmute myself to say that. Hashtag free Savage.
Tell it backwards, man. Tell it backwards.
Free Savage, man.
But yeah, I think the theme with a lot of people, I think a lot of people are just off their game right now. This is not CFB 26. And I don't factor that too much into these rankings. Otherwise, some of these users that are at the bottom would be a little higher. But we can only go off what we've seen so far because I anticipate a lot of these guys turning around. Fred being one of them. But yeah, just a rough start. I mean, you give out a force loss also, and then he had a pretty big. I don't remember the score of the game against Toledo. But yeah, I think other than the game that we had, well, he was actually it was tied up at half. It's just kind of been a rough stretch. I expect him to turn it around. And yeah, 25. We got Air Force. Right?
All right, with Air Force. The Air Force, he only has one win, 1-3. It's a 15-point win over a CPU Nevada. Not a great win, I would say. And all of his losses have been by double digits and by a lot. Lost by 14 to USF, lost by double digits to Georgia State, and lost double digits to CPU North Dakota State. So it's not very great. And I also just seen he didn't play his CPU game this week, which would have been Navy. But with the way I'm looking at his other games going, I feel like he might have lost that game as well. But not much to say. He hasn't played very well. And the games he have played, he just lost by a lot. So not much to say on Air Force.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the surprising ones for me at 24 with Rice, with Berto. Nobody really expected Berto. I know Rice isn't the greatest team, but they have a lot of resources. That's why I took them early. 1-4 for Berto is a little surprising for me. But I think last cycle, he kind of started the cycle off a little rough last year too before he got it going. But yeah, I mean, he's got to get it going. You don't want to lose your job before you get to use your resources. So that's kind of key when it comes to like taking a school like Memphis, Fresno State, even ECU probably has Trey on the hot seat. When you get teams like this and that have NIL, they're going to fire you before you can even get a chance to use them. So hopefully we see Rice turning it around before they can his ass and hire somebody else.
Yeah, I think obviously that's a big factor as well. I think there's a few people on here that picked their team based on that. They may feel like they made the right decision. They may feel like they didn't. Only time will tell. But yeah, at 23, we got Washington State, which is Q. Really high expectations for him coming in. I wouldn't say really high, but definitely upside, given team plus user. I really expected him to take a big jump. Obviously, the record doesn't fully, I guess, represent where he's at or what he's capable of because it's a lot of forces, and obviously, he had the issue, in his game. I think it was against was it against Tulane? I believe when they weren't able to finish, kind of had to dip out.
I think so.
Yeah, but it's just like then had to give another game away.
We'll get there.
Yeah, so we'll get there, but yeah, it's just kind of tough to judge. I feel like 23 as of now, just off of face value, is a pretty good spot. Yeah, got him at 23.
We'll get there, Christian. I do have my reasonings. I really had Justin way higher on my rough draft, but once I seen his resume, it was very hard to rank him. Just from looking out, he's one in his users are 1 in 15. He only has one of his users only have one win. So and like he had like a 17-point loss to his only quality opponent. So 1 in 7, your opponent's being 1 in 17 looks really bad. So that's why I did that. But it does look bad. But his other guys are a lot more competitive against quality guys. But at number 22 we have Leo, the one and only. I wish he was in the chat a little bit more. I feel like once he lost, he started like not showing up in the chat. He definitely had the week 0 high against me. Got knocked off by Leo in week 0. Very disappointing loss. But he controlled the game. He had the ball for like 23 minutes. I had the ball for like 5. And he established the run game and he knocked us off. But after that, he only has one win, and that's against the CPU, which he played twice. He says that he didn't quit, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, shout out to Leo at 22.
Yep.
Go ahead, Sterling. Go ahead.
Spam Willie. Let's spam Willie in the chat, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm sure.
21.
I'm sure a lot of his feelings toward this list have to do with where he's at. I think obviously, looking at his wins, I mean, he had a good win against me, a 3-point win, and then the other win was against Tulsa, which I believe he was down in that game before the connection went out. I had a similar situation with Tulsa as well, but we ended up playing. He won by 3, but yeah, the loss to North Texas. I mean, that was a tough game. Everybody knows, that's a good team. Fredo's going to do some good things with them. And I think as well as the UL Monroe, and then just kind of having a tough one against Sam Houston. That's all we have in there. Just everybody remember, this is kind of just based off what we've seen so far. Take the user skill, take all that history, take all that out of it. That would be like one of the last like tiebreakers, and even then we're like trying to take the names off of people's face, so off of people's teams at the end of the day.
I really didn't hurt you too much for the Tulsa game, Willie. It was more so the ULM and the Fredo. And I forgot who else you lost to. Oh, Sam Houston by like a great margin. But I was trying not to put the names with teams just because I was going to be too biased. Just because like Dane, for an example. Like I'm sitting here looking at Dane, I'm like, this can't be true. This can't be true. So, but yeah. But at number 20, this is where it kind of gets interesting because I want to do something different from like 10 to 20. I wanted us to kind of like pick two different users to talk about from the 10 to 20 range. And my two was definitely going to be North Texas and Liberty. Um, I'm gonna start off with talking about North Texas. He came in. He really had a great preseason, you can say. Um, we were all high on Fredo. Like we knew Fredo was going to Fredo whenever before the game came out. But once everybody started playing, he came in the league. He looked really good against Utah State in the very first game of BYL. He looked really good in that game. He comes back to beat Wyoming. Um, so and that was which is one of the better wins like out of the whole group really. And I forgot who his other win was. Oh, against Willie, my bad. Which was another really good win. That's the quality. Even though Willie's 2-3, like beating Willie is a really solid win. So I just hope he doesn't like once he got his loss out the way. Hopefully he doesn't just start losing. I really would like to see North Texas pick it up. He definitely has the skill players to do so. Um, I just hopefully that loss doesn't just hurt him where he just falls off for the remainder of the season. But yeah, and then my second user that I wanted to talk about was Liberty at 17. It was a tough ranking for me just because I feel like he's winning, but he hasn't really been like dominant in his games. His opponents are 0-14. When it comes to user games, he lost to a CPU Virginia by like 23 points. And then his other win was against a CPU Mo State by 2 points. I feel like, and then his Memphis game was 14-7. I feel like that Memphis game should have really been a 21 plus game the way Memphis has been playing. And I don't think you should have been on the same field as Mo State. They should have been within 2 points from you. So that was, and then obviously you can't control who you play, but your opponents being 0-14 really doesn't show that that 3-1 record is really a strong record. I feel like any quality opponent right now could really get Liberty. That's why I have them there.
Yeah, so obviously Brandon skipped around a little bit. So I'll start back at 19 with Coach Trill, man. I think in those first two games, obviously he won and we were seeing the Wildcat, we're seeing that run formation. Obviously, this is prime Coach Trill football. And we were just kind of like, man, something's got to give. Somebody's gonna be able to stop him. Him and Fredo had a really good game, 30-22 loss. And I think Fredo was just able to kind of lean on that team just a little bit more because from what I remember, Wyoming, Trill was kind of gashing them a bit. And I think just Fredo getting that win. Obviously that's a tough loss, and then losing against Georgia State. That one was the one I feel like that kind of really cemented, I think, having Trill at this spot just because it was such a big margin of loss, and obviously the Hawaii game as well. So like the last two games were pretty rough, especially when it being the CPU. But I mean, I expect him to turn it around. Steve, you sure you don't want to talk about 18, bro? Are you sure? You sure you don't want to? I wasn't going to do it, but I felt like you got to speak on it, man.
You sure you don't want to talk about 18 is crazy.
I respect that. I mean, I didn't make these rankings, so
no.
I mean, he's obviously 2-2 with the win over me. I don't know who else he beat.
Oregon.
He beat Oregon. He beat Oregon.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So he has the loss to a user, I believe, and then he has a loss to UAB. I think. He did beat me, but I am ahead of him on the power ranking. So guess we'll just leave it at that. But I mean, obviously, I think he had a really hot start to the cycle. I don't know what happened. Yeah, he lost to Fresh, and then he lost to UAB. So I'm not sure what happened, but Sterling, keep that energy. Wait till your ass pops up.
All right. And it wasn't supposed to be like that. So then 16 right here, we got Charlotte, Steven, Devon. So obviously, 3-2. I mean, it's solid. I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't expect to have him here. I mean, he had a pretty close game against Boise. Obviously lost that one, and then the James Madison game. We didn't really know, I guess, what to expect after him starting 1-2, but it looks like he righted the ship. Obviously, in week 1 had a really good win against South Carolina, and then really blew the doors off of North Carolina. Looks to be back on track. After this next game, I mean, depending on how it goes, you could even see him shoot up a little bit more against North Texas. Obviously, that's going to be a really big one. But yeah, got Steven here at 16.
And hold on, Zach, before you talk. One of the reasons why I had Boise at 18 is because when I was looking at these rankings, like there's nobody really separated themselves from anybody, and I was kind of looking like a who's hot and who's not situation. I feel like Boise came off a loss to UAB, which is not a very good team, and then obviously that loss to Fresh, which it could be a really good win or for Fresh, but um, it's just it was he just right now his trajectory is just falling, and everybody in front of him they're just going up. So it was kind of hard to rank weeks. I think he'll get it back going. He's 2-2. It's the season's not over. He plays the Utah State team tonight, which is not on there as well. So that it could have been a 2-3 or a 3-2, which 18 kind of hurts him there whenever we don't have that other game to judge. So um, he could change it all up and beat a really good Utah State team. So that's the reason for that.
All right, so at 15, we have Toledo. I see he's 4-1, one loss team, got a few 2-loss teams ahead of him. But looking at his resume, his user wins, he's 1-14. It's very bad. And he has a double-digit loss. It's not good. Not much to say about it. It's not good. He
This
is
man Zach, bro,
4-1.
slow down, bro. Just
He
relax,
is.
bro.
This is his first live, man.
Bro,
Relax.
just slow down a little bit, bro.
This is
You
hey.
good, bro?
All right.
This is his first
one in
one,
four,
man.
1-14 user wins is not great at all. You just had to play that into a lot of it factor. And his loss, 18-point loss to Tulsa, so a double-digit loss. Not much to say. I'm gonna speed it up a little bit here so y'all can move on to number 14, New Mexico.
Yeah, go ahead, Brandon. I'm not gonna talk about myself.
I have Sterling here at number 14. Like I said, once I got into the top 15, it was just rocky from like I would say like I struggled at 8 to 15. It just like nobody in there was separating themselves a little at all. Obviously, some one-loss teams look better than some two-loss teams, but when you lose, you kind of give room for judgment there. But we have Sterling here at 14. The win. I bought her some Dolly toys. Okay, go in there.
Shout out Leilani, man.
Um, Obviously, Sterling opened the season up against Coastal Carolina, which was the game of the week. Despite Coastal Carolina's record right now, that is still very much a quality opponent, and that was a very good win to kind of start off the cycle. And then obviously he has a rivalry win versus New Mexico State, and then I think he also beat UTEP. But it's more so the dominance fact. The fact that he's showing more of a dominance in the CPUs than other people so far is kind of with that win over Coastal Carolina has kind of solidified that 14 spot, even with 2 losses. I feel like Toledo is kind of missing that dominant thing for him, and the fact that his opponents are 1-14. If he would have beat Tulsa, we talk about a new Toledo team right now. But yeah, I have Sterling here at 14. Can you go in there for a minute?
All right, yeah. So at 13,
No.
we got Beach, Ohio. So it was really promising. What we said, go ahead, say
I forgot he lost it. That is a very quality loss. I said the same thing for North Texas. That win that North Texas got over South Alabama was, like I said, it was a good win. And it was a close game with New Mexico State. I think it was a 17-14 game. Really good game.
First of all, I thought you was out of here, Willie. Second of all, when I went over yours, I said it was a quality win. So that would insinuate that it's a quality, loss. But enough about me. But like I said, Beach with
Both my
Ohio.
losses are suspect too, but man,
Yeah.
it's just we lost.
Yeah, but yeah, had a good win against SDSU. It's kind of looking like kind of this is the Beach that we know is going to dominate. Had a tough one against Texas State. I didn't watch that one, but I saw the recap, and he said like he fumbled like 4 times, which is kind of crazy. And they got returned for touchdowns. I don't know if that's like exactly what happened. And then he was able to get 2 forces in a row. I mean, he's looking solid again. I mean, and then the CPU win that he had over Kent State was convincing. Like I said, I think a lot of teams, it's just a rocky start, and I feel like 25 users and up are gonna all kind of find their groove, even if you're below that as the season goes along. So, yeah, Bisha 13 for now. Brandon, I'll do yours since you went over and did mine, but obviously, at 3-2, 12 isn't a bad spot, especially considering we really factored in when you get here and all the teams are kind of in a similar spot as far as record. You start splitting hairs a little bit. Obviously, you could argue that one of his losses isn't really, on him, but it's kind of hard to factor that too much or move him up too much because of it. Obviously, it's unfortunate. That first loss against SDSU was pretty tough, especially being at home in that situation. But I fully expect Brandon to turn it around, so got him here at 12.
Yeah, hopefully I bounce back. I got JMU next. That would be a really good game for me if I can win that one.
All right, at 11 we have Eastern Michigan. We have Justin, another user like Toledo, to where he is one loss team, but looking at his resume user wise, none of his users that he's beat have none of his users he's beat have had a win. So this is not looks very good at the end of the day. And looking
it was raining though. It was raining. Not only was it raining, he missed it, and then it gave you another kick.
I don't think there's not really an argument.
I lost. It's on there. We ain't gonna get it back. It's definitely a loss. But
going back to the rankings,
he could have had fucking Greg the leg in there, but he wasn't hitting that in the rain.
Going back to the rankings, Justin at 11, none of his users had a win that he's beat. Just looks very bad compared to the users around him.
His resume looks real suspect right now. I watched all of Eastern Michigan's games, and I see him like today, like he knocked off a CPU in the final seconds. I had Justin at 4 on my rough draft, and then when I started like comparing resumes, I'm like, damn. It's like, why? Really? He only had. There's no way. I was just sitting there like questioning myself the whole time with Justin's resume. I feel like you could probably have him at like 9 or 10, but they got better wins than he does, so that's kind of why he's there. He's only good from beyond 55.
Brandon, do you want to do Army?
So for the top 10, I kind of want us, because like we did our rankings a little bit different, kind of burning through them. I kind of would like all of us to kind of like talk about the top 10, if y'all are okay with that. Like we've seen enough football to know what the top 10 is, and we can kind of speak a little bit on all of them. You don't got. I mean, if Steven didn't make the rankings, he don't got to really like. Oh, I didn't want to put Army at 10. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I thought he was 12 or 13. But
for the let the record show, I didn't make the I didn't have any say in the rankings either. So
yeah, so we have Army at 10. I think his like he said, his style of play isn't like, because I was trying to compare the fact that I have scored 200 points in 5 games and he's only scored 80, which is the second most in college. I think only Pelf has more points scored than me. Yes. I think only Pelf has more points scored than me by 1 point, and he had an argument where it's like his team is built on like defense and like just clock control. So I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt there. He did have a really good win over Jack State week 1, and the win over Washington State was obviously a quality win as well, which is kind of a lot more. Those wins are better than what we've seen so far from Eastern Michigan and Georgia State. So I had to give him his credit. It's good to kind of give these guys their credit early because I know once they patch it, Zach probably will be around 25. So shout out to Zach.
Yeah. Yeah, here at 9 we got Tulane, Coach Fresh. Um Correct me if I'm wrong, but this may be Fresh's highest like ranking ever at any point. I know it's like an early ranking, but this may be his highest. So I mean, shout out to him. I think a common theme we're seeing here is a lot of these guys that pick their teams, in the tier 4. We're starting to see that kind of come into fruition, like the goal that we had, which is good. It's a good turnaround. I know it's very early, so it's hard to just say that this is the way, this is the new status quo of the league. I think we'll start to see things balance out. But obviously seeing Army here, Tulane here is kind of the start of that. But yeah, I mean, aside from the big loss against LSU, which was tough, I mean, not competing in that one at all is kind of rough, especially when you've seen other users that played teams that were just far better than them, and dominate them and beat them. But he had a good win, CPU win over Western Michigan. Was able to beat Boise, and obviously the game with Q that could have went either way, but obviously they weren't able to finish that one. So for now, we got Tulane there. I'll talk about Ray Sean here. Obviously, man, a big shout out to him. I mean, I feel like he's really been he's really just been having a really good season. Honestly, I'll pull up his stuff right here, but tough way to lose. That game could have gone either way in week 0. But then he turned it around, same connection, decided that, it was worth running it back. And he was able to get the dub by 3. Um, and then another win against Toledo. Again, I just kind of seeing the CPU thing, man. I mean, that one game could really just shot him up the list even more, but I'm liking what I see. This is somebody who I'm actually really excited to kind of see how they continue to shoot up. I mean, he just got a good win against North Texas. Obviously, we know he's had some good wins, and that's a tough team to beat right now. It's a pretty good win. I mean, 7-point game, so I think he's gonna keep improving.
Yeah, I mean, to speak on Ray Sean a little bit before we go to Franco, whenever I'm looking, the reason because I know they had a question for that earlier. To me, Tulsa is like doesn't have a bad loss. He has 3 top 20 wins in Toledo, North Texas, and New Mexico. Those are 3 really good wins, especially whenever early on when we're all playing user games. He obviously did have the hiccup against the CPU, and he also played South Alabama and lost. But like I said earlier, multiple times, that South Alabama game holds a lot of weight to me. And it was a very close game. The connection issue was going back and forth. Would like to see that game finish. Not saying that he could have won that game, but he was definitely putting himself in a position to be really competitive in that game. And realistically, the Tulsa team, like they're playing way better football than a lot of the people that we've already named, despite being 3-2. If Tulsa has the same schedule as Eastern Michigan right now, I think that he probably has the same exact record. So I was just factoring in how dominant he's been when it comes to like not dominant, consistent he's been against his users. He's played some really quality users. I think he's the only one to play 3 top 20 guys, which is really good this early on. So shout out to Rayshawn Caraway. And looking at some other games on his schedule, I think he really controls his own destiny. So that's people don't look at his resume, but if y'all look at Tulsa's resume, it speaks for himself. So
looking at number 7 with Texas State, it's a lot. Looking at his resume, he's blowout wins on all of his wins except for one versus Texas Tech CPU. And his one loss, I mean, he did get blown out, but it was the number 1 user on there. So you're looking at that. It's a blowout, but it doesn't look as bad as a blowout would be, say, if Fredo blew him out. It holds different weight there. But his wins, he's blown out a lot of users, and it looks a lot better than the guys underneath him, so there's not much to say on him.
Sure. At number 6, we got UNLV here. Mondo, really high on Mondo. He has a really good win. He had showed some adversity against Delaware. He came back to win that game. I know Delaware is 0-6 right now, but to be down 24-3 against them and find a way to come back and win, that's very impressive. Obviously, he had that win against Beach. Um, where the connection went out and they had to play the last 2 minutes. But to beat the number 13 user, which obviously Texas State has that same victory as well. The only thing different is that the fact that Arizona State CPU lost. I mean, the way you factor in losses, you can flip 6 and 7. I just thought that it's a little bit more easier for me to be competitive in some of these user games. Like Pelf has like a 60 something overall team. To lose by like whatever, I think it was like 30 something points, whatever it was, you got to be shooting yourself in the foot a lot there.
Yeah, I think even just Mondo, like I've kind of watched and just a little bit more of an eye test, but I mean, it looks like he really likes that UNLV team. Looks like he's actually really solid with them. I think he's like one of the sleeper team the users. I think in even preseason, I kind of held him in that regard. But what I've been seeing out of him, especially that Delaware win, just having to come back, being on the road, winning the way he did, I thought that was pretty impressive. And again, he just looks solid with that team. And that's just eye test. No numbers, no record kind of going into it, but obviously he has that to back it up. 5, right here we got West Side. You could be looking at the only 6-0 user really if he was able to beat that Miami team. Obviously, a pretty big loss. You'd like to see it be a little more competitive. I don't know how that game went, but I mean that's just a really hard team to beat, even at home. But I mean, he started off the season 4-0. Pretty solid win. Obviously, he got a win against number 12. We already know the details behind that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, aside from that one loss, I mean, sitting there at 5-1, he could be the 6-0 team, and you could argue him being, arguably in the 2, maybe even 1 spot. But the Miami game kind of knocked him down a little bit. So top 5 is nothing to shake your head at.
I'll let Brandon talk about Bryce.
No, I got nothing to say about him. You can talk about him.
All right, we got Bryce.
Let's let Mickey talk about Bryce.
We got Bryce at 4. His one loss is say a Hail Mary loss to the number 2 user, Dane. Put aside the past, Dane this year has looked very good. So that last second Hail Mary loss looks, I mean, it's one of the better losses out of all these users. Not much else to say. He's looked very solid. A lot of points put up. I think his QB leads the nation in passing touchdowns. Not very sure though. It's one of the top. Other than that, it's just a lot of wins by multiple double digits. So just move on. Get on to the
I'll speak
last
on Bryce a
undefeated
little bit
teams.
just because obviously coming into this season, like he was calling out certain users, which was Berto, Fred, and Dane. He has an opportunity to play all 3 of them this year. Obviously, he lost to Dane. Our first ever sold out pay-per-view, sold out gate. He loses by a Hail Mary, and I was just ecstatic. But he had a dominant win week 1 against Rice. And then obviously week 2 he played against Steven, and I think he won by 17 there. So Bryce came out the gates hot. Obviously, that loss against USF kind of brought him back to reality a little bit. Maybe that's the loss he needed to maybe knock off somebody like myself. And he plays Fred right after. He's 2-0 after that loss. He has me, not next week, but the week after that. If he can somehow figure out a way to win that game, I think he finishes the conference out undefeated. And we have some more odds coming up. I think we will see Bryce's name on those as well. So, yeah, shout out to Bryce. We're moving on to number 3 at Utah State. You can go ahead, Zach.
All right, at Utah State, we got Christian. He's 4-0 as of right now. Didn't factor in this Boise game this week. Um, the resume wise, it's just he what the worst resume out of all the undefeated teams left. So couldn't put Dane or Sam Houston underneath him. So there's not much to say on him. We'll see if he moves up. If he keeps on winning, we could see him climb above Dane, maybe, possibly. But other than that, we can just move on to number 2. I'll let Brandon talk about Dane.
I want to talk about Utah State a little bit too, because I feel like if we would have had that Boise State game on there, it would have done a lot more to his resume. But I was kind of back and forth between, because I obviously y'all see there's some 1-loss teams in front of some 2-loss teams. I was back and forth, but the thing my judgment was is like, if you don't give us a reason to judge you, we really can't judge you. So obviously Utah State is at number 3. If he would have, that Boise State game would have been really good to judge, but yeah, I think realistically, I really wanted to see Christian at number 2 here. But once I was looking at Dane's resume, it is really solid. Christian at 3, was hoping to have him at 2 because I think he realistically should belong there. But we got to give Dane his flowers. He beat a really good JMU team that's at number 4. He has the best win out of everybody, and then at number 4, including number 1. Shout out to Dane. He's 5-0. He's playing really good football. Outside? Anyways, Dane is playing some really good ball right now. Can he keep it up? That's the only thing we can hope for at this point. I know a lot of people wanted to see Dane lose, but he's continued to shine. And he really controls his own. I don't think he plays Steven in conference.
He doesn't play Steven or Fredo.
Yeah, he doesn't play Steven or Fredo. Early on, I thought that if he played Fredo would get him. But right now, Dane looks like he's going to be playing in the American Championship. So shout out to Dane.
Yo, shout out to Dane, man. Whether you like it, you don't gotta like it, but you gotta respect it. You gotta put some respect on Dane, man, on the Bolitnikovs. But shout out to Dane. That's my boy, man. I hope hopefully this is something sustainable based on the outlook of the rest of the season. I think it is. Just got to get in that conference chip and see what happens, man. But the Bulls, for now, they're here to stay. For now, and that takes us to number 1. David at Sam Houston. I mean, this is the definition of just take care of business, bro. I think in a league where everybody right now is trying to find their groove, trying to find their identity. David is just he's sticking to the basics. He kind of knows what he is doing, what he likes to do. He just sticks to it. Probably the most disciplined football I've seen in here so far. Not that he wasn't doing that last year, but I think that's just what's kind of separating people right now and getting these wins. Is just not trying to step out of your frame and do too much and not trying to be too experimental at a time where you need to know, like, all right, my team has these limitations. And, he has some pieces on his team, and to the strengths that he has, he's using them very well. Very obviously one of the best users in here. He has some impressive wins as well. I mean, kind of like Brandon was talking about earlier, there's that domination factor. I mean, scoring 54, 45, 49, beating Eastern Michigan 31-14, another 49-point win against New Mexico State. So, like, it's just dominance. So for me, maybe we might have talked about it for a little bit, but it wasn't never a toss-up.
Yeah, I know we made some jokes about Dane being at number 1, but I believe this was pretty unanimous for us.
Right. And I'm not going off of just name.
It's just when you look at resume, he has a win versus number 11, which you can argue Eastern Michigan can be way up there. And then he obviously has a win against number 7, which wasn't even a close game. Beat him by like 40 points or whatever it was, 38 or 9. Just handled him. And then Justin was like, it was an argue for 1 and 2 if in that Justin versus Pelf game. But Justin really needed that win to kind of make his resume look really good. And that's kind of what hurt Justin a little bit. But for me, it was pretty obvious that Pelf was going to be number 1 just because of how well he dominated. against quality opponents. So I mean, looking at his schedule as well, unless Meade can run the ball, I know Styles make fights. He hasn't played a user that establishes the run game, so I'm kind of curious to see who wants to establish the run game against him. I know FIU will try to, but I'm not sure that anybody on his schedule has what it takes to knock him off. So I think we could be seeing one of the only undefeated teams in Sam Houston.
Yep.
Yes.
Possibly one of the only
Yes.
playoff teams. But yeah, I appreciate y'all rocking with us for that portion. That'll conclude the power rankings. And then we're gonna go ahead and hand it off to Steven.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the conference title odds. Oh, I keep looking at my left screen. All right, so first conference we're gonna go over is the MAC. So in the MAC, there's 3 users right now. So I made the odds for every conference. So the 3 of them had no say in any of this. The same way I didn't have any say into power rankings. I just did this on my own, and they did the power rankings on their own. I have, as of right now, through week 5, I have Justin as the favorite, the slight favorite to win the MAC, with Bish in second and then Coach Red in third. I still feel like it's anyone's conference. They all play each other, and they have yet to play each other yet. So it's kind of hard to judge. And obviously, if one of those games would have got played already, then the loser of that first game would have had way worse odds because they would have needed the other teams to lose. So still very close. But right now, I got Justin as the favorite to win the MAC right now. Moving on to the Mountain West. And by the way, we're going in order of the amount of users per conference.
Okay.
So the Mountain West, this is the Mountain West odds. So I have UNLV as the very, very slight favorite to win the Mountain West. Then you have New Mexico right behind them, and then Wyoming and Air Force. Obviously, Air Force has been gone for a couple of days. I think he's getting a fair sim today because he didn't play his game today. But I do know that for the most part, all these guys play each other. I believe. So I do think it's going to be, by week 7 or 8, we'll probably know who's going to get into the conference championship. I think Sterling doesn't play anybody until late. I do know because I've talked to him about it. So he doesn't play any of those 3 late, but I'm almost positive if 3 of them start playing each other here soon. So, if Air Force loses to both UNLV and Mexico, if they play each other, then Air Force is essentially out, and vice versa. Same thing with UNLV, same thing with Wyoming. So this is kind of how I have it right now. Fairly close, but I have UNLV as the favorite right now. Conference USA, I have Pelf as a heavy favorite. Westside coming in second with plus 225, Liberty in third, and then Delaware in the back. Obviously, if you'd have told me this in week 1 or week 0, I didn't think Delaware would be this far back, but he's given up a few forces. He had a couple of losses as well, and part of those forces have come in conference as well. So I want to say he's giving up the force to Liberty this week, so he's going to be already behind the 8 ball against Liberty. He doesn't play against Pelf, so he would need Liberty to lose, 2 more games in conference for him to even make the conference championship, which will be tough when Liberty has a pretty, loaded CPU schedule. The Sun Belt, I have Georgia State as the slight favorite over JMU. Obviously, they play in a week or 2. Then I have JMU at plus 200, South Alabama at plus 300, Coastal at plus 400, and Ajami at plus 500. As you kind of work your way from bottom to top, Ajami obviously struggling a little bit, getting his feet under him, getting the game so late. Coastal's given up so many forces, so he hasn't really been able. Well, he's given up 2 forces, I think, or he played his game today, but hasn't really been able to get his feet under him with his team either, just for lack of reps. I have Willie right behind JMU, and also you guys got to remember based on divisions. So divisions is a big part of this. So although I have Georgia State and JMU above South Alabama, only one of Georgia State and JMU can make the conference championship game. So, as soon as Georgia State and JMU play, depending on who wins that game, that person's odds are going to be a lot better just because of how the divisions are set in the Sun Belt. So that's why also Willie and Coastal are so close to one another. And then you have the American. I have Dane as the favorite to win the American at plus 100. They kind of spoke about it earlier. He doesn't play Charlotte or North Texas, which obviously they both play each other. Me and Fredo play each other next week. But USF has a pretty favorable path to the conference championship game. Hence why his odds are so high. Now, if you told me USF and Charlotte or USF and North Texas would be playing in the conference championship game, I don't think Dane is the favorite, so to speak. But I think when you factor in the route that North Texas and the route that Charlotte has to take to get to the conference championship, those odds have to be affected, unlike USF's odds. I just think he has a easier path to get into the conference championship. I do think Rice can still get there as well. He just has to have some stuff go his way. He's obviously capable as a user, but he just got to kind of figure it out. Then you still got Tulsa. Obviously, Rashawn Caraway, who we talked about earlier. I think he's 4-1 right now. And really the only loss that he has was a forced loss, I believe, which, or was it a fair sim, or it was something like that and he was winning, or so it was some crazy shit like that.
Yeah,
so,
lucky for him, it wasn't in conference though. So like he's still solid from that standpoint.
And I do know I play Tulsa at the end of the year. I don't know who else he plays. But I think the American is probably the most interesting conference when it comes to conference championship picture, just because there's so many of us in this conference. And Dane is, I'm not going to say pretty much solidified himself in the spot, because he could still trip up against a CPU or against another user, but he's pretty safe right now. And that's just solely based off of kind of the route he has to take. He doesn't have to play Charlotte, North Texas, Tulsa. So he's in a good spot. And then, so that's going to be the conference championship odds. I do have playoff odds as well.
What about the Pac-12?
Oh, that's probably next then. Oh, no, it's not on there. Why is the Pac-12 not popping up? Oh, it's right here. It didn't pop up. Did I skip it? I must have skipped it on accident. Okay, so Pac-12 odds. I have Utah State and Texas State as the dual favorites. They're tied with the best odds right now. Then you got WSU and Coach Q, Boise State. They're both tied. Then you have Fresno State and Shane tied. So this is another one of those conferences that are going to be very interesting. I think once the dust settles after like week 8 or week 9, we'll get a much more clear picture. Even today when, Utah State and Boise State are getting ready to play. I think that game's going to decide a lot too, because Boise State goes in and, beats Christian, then this is going to be completely shaken up. And I think if Utah State beats Boise State, he puts himself in the driver's seat. So this is also a very, very interesting conference to kind of follow and cover. But going into the playoff odds.
Hold on, before you get there, the way the Pac-12 is super interesting because they play people twice, and Boise State plays Utah State twice, so that could really hurt either one of them. I know a lot of people I don't know who North Texas plays twice, or not North Texas, Texas State plays twice, but there's a lot of people in there that play people twice, and for your first and third odds to be they play twice, it could really hurt somebody that might play a CPU twice, or somebody that's lower on the ranking. So that's something to factor in too.
So for the playoff odds, so these are teams that I think, their odds currently to get in the playoffs. I have Dane as the highest likely to make the playoffs. The reason being, like I said, he is pretty much, if I had to guess, he's probably penciled into the American Championship if he takes care of business against the CPU, which means he is one game away from the playoffs. If he wins the American Conference, I don't think, even if Pelf is undefeated, I don't think he jumps an undefeated USF, because the American Conference is so much stronger than Conference USA. Now, if Dane trips up and loses in the conference championship, then I do think Pelf could get there. But I think with Sam Houston being such a low program and the conference being so bad, he kind of needs Dane to lose a game. I don't think if they both go 12-0, Sam Houston jumps Dane. So that's why I have Dane ahead of him right now. I have Pelf right behind him. And then I have Utah State in there as well. I think Utah State is definitely a factor. I think his road is a little bit tougher, though, because, again, he has to play a lot of these users in conference. Sam Houston doesn't play a lot of users in conference, and neither does Dane. And if they do, they're the heavy favorite in all of their matchups. And then you have FIU, obviously, in the same conference there, and Coach Westside. He has a really good record right now. He's playing really good ball, so I have him there as well. He has the same odds as Mondo and UNLV. Obviously, UNLV has one loss, but I think if he runs the table and he has some help above him, he could get in. Then you have Bryce. Bryce's odds are at plus 800. The only reason they're at plus 800 right now and not closer to the 750 or 600 range because he has Brandon here in a few weeks. I think if that game would have been this week and he would have beaten Brandon, he'd probably be closer to 400 or 500. But because that game has yet to happen, and he's likely going to be the underdog in that game based on the history, I have him at plus 800. Then you have Franco at 900 for all the same reasons for Bryce. I think he has a lot of users games just like UNLV. So it's kind of hard to put him up there with, the top three when the top two when the top two have more favorable paths. And then at the very bottom, I have other. at plus 1,500. I don't see any other way another team could make it. Just kind of look at the power rankings. I guess the only other teams you could say, maybe Army, but Army already has a loss in the conference, so he would need some help. Eastern Michigan, I don't think a one-loss team in the MAC can get in the playoffs. Same with Toledo. I don't think Ohio can get in. I don't think New Mexico can get in with 2 losses. I don't think I can get in with 2 losses. You have Tulsa. That's pretty much everybody.
Hey, Stephen, by the way, besides the point, I'm looking at top 25 rankings right now. Tulane is the only user team receiving votes right now.
Yeah, but we know as like people knowing who USF is like they don't start no further than maybe 40.
Yeah, I just think USF is like if USF is able to go and win.
And he also has Florida as well, like which would be a quality win for strength of
he's 5-0 right now. I would be shocked if he gets to 7-0 and he's not ranked. Like I would be shocked. I just don't see that happening. When we advance this week, he's probably going to be either ranked or getting additional votes, and he's only at 5 wins. But I also think the reason why I don't see a path for Tulane to get into the playoffs is just based off of his schedule. I think it'd be very hard for him to get in the playoffs with who he plays still. Obviously, he only has 1 loss, so it's already going to be hard for you to get into the playoffs with 1 loss as a G5 team. But he still plays Army on the road. He still plays me. He still plays Tulsa. He still plays Rice. He still plays North Texas, and he still plays USF. So he actually does play USF. I didn't know USF plays him. But he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 user games left and 1 lone CPU. This is much respect to Fresh, and I'm not trying to be down on him. I don't think he goes 7-0 in the remaining of his user games. I can't see that. I can't see that happening. Especially when you have to go on the road at Charlotte, on the road at Army, and on the road at USF. I mean, if he does it, then I'll shut up. But it's hard for me to picture that. So I mean, that's obviously he has his work cut out for him. That's why he wasn't on that slide. Now again, we're gonna be doing these shows every Sunday. So if Sunday rolls around and he's 6-1, and now he has wins over Army, Memphis, and UTSA, we might be moving him into that playoff bracket if some of these other teams have lost, or that those playoff odds screens, some of these other teams has lost. But I just other than the teams that I named on here, I just don't see anybody else really bursting into the picture here. Because even if we put it this way and we say all 7 of those teams that are on here right now all end up losing 1 or 2 games, I don't think at that point any user is going to get in the playoffs. I mean, I think, and if it is, it's not going to be somebody we can picture right now, because there's also some conferences that like there's random CPUs doing good, like ULM is doing good, which I don't think they'll do good at the end of the year. But
yeah, a lot of these Sun Belt, and they play our whole. Well, they might be on the other side of the bracket, so hopefully they don't beat IGME.
Yeah, so a lot of these conferences, I mean, it's going to be tough to kind of see who gets in. But I don't picture USF losing more than 1 game, and I don't picture PELF losing at all. So
yeah,
the best thing for USF, I mean, I think USF is the only team on here that can control his own destiny. That's the only team.
Yeah, and then
and maybe Utah State.
Sam Houston's media rank right now is at 71, and he's 5-0. He doesn't have many more quality opponents to kind of help him build his rank up. I think because I had Jack State last year, and I made myself go fucking 15-0, and I still wasn't ranked. And that's just how this whole entire conference is. So I don't. Yeah, I mean
he would have to.
PELF needs a lot to happen in front of him for him to even be ranked inside the top 25 at 15 or 13, 14-0, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think once he gets to about 8-0, he'll probably start getting votes, and then at that point, you gotta hope that Utah State and USF lose a game.
If he gets votes at 8-0, if he starts getting votes that early, then there's no doubt that he probably wins it for me, because I just don't like, unless it's Utah State. Right now, obviously we're really high on Dane. I just don't know if we can see a full season of like winning football. I don't like Dane not having 1 hiccup. Just doesn't sound like BYL to me. But
so he has, well, I mean his schedule is very favorable. That's the problem. I mean he obviously he plays UTSA, which is a CPU. The Florida game is probably going to be his toughest test, but it's at home, so he doesn't have to deal with any crowd effects or anything. Then he has UAB. Then he plays Trey, Marquise Camp, and FAU, and then he has Tulane at home. So I mean, if I had to guess, I feel like if you had to tell me like
how late does he play Florida? Does he play him like
he plays Florida? He'll be playing Florida. He'll be playing Florida by this Friday or Saturday.
So
it's
like
literally
8 or 9
in 2 weeks. We're going to week 6 tonight. He plays on week 8. It's his next game. He has a bye week.
If he can somehow, if he even loses that game, the next 2 games for him will realistically start getting him to receive votes because the CPUs are going to lose. It's just tough right now. But I agree with Josh. I think the best bet right now is only if Utah can take care of business. He has a really hard schedule compared to the 2 guys in front of him. That's the only reason why his odds is like that. But
yeah, he plays Boise State today. Then he plays Q, which is going to be a really good game. That game against Q is going to be good. Then he has Franco, Colorado State, Shane, Leo. Then he has Oregon State. Then he has Weeks again at the end. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how everything shakes out, obviously. Still early in the season. We're going to do another live show next Sunday. We're probably only going to get, if I had to guess, probably 3 more weeks worth of games just because it's going to start slowing down. So we'll probably get games through week 9, if I had to guess, for the next week's live show. So a lot of things could change and be different. But we appreciate y'all for stopping by. We'll do the same. What's the word I'm looking for?
Format.
Yeah, the same format. I don't know if I was going to say style. The same format next time. And then after that, the following week, it'll be heading into pretty much conference championship week. So we'll have a more clear picture in about 2 weeks. If we could keep getting these 24-hour advances and, quick advances, we'll likely be done with season 1 by August 3rd. So in about 2 weeks. I mean, we're already going into week 6. And the bulk of these games in conference are going to be a lot of CPU matchups just because we didn't realign. So, like next week we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 user games. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 CPU games next week. So with only 6 user games, we're probably going to advance again quick. Whether it's a 24-hour or not, it'll probably advance quick. And then the week after that, it's going to be another 16, 17 CPU games just because we didn't realign. So we should be able to get through the season quick. We appreciate y'all. Let us know if you have any questions. Y'all got anything to say before I end the stream?
Oh, man, just keep knocking them games out, man. If you got a CPU game, when we advance in about, 45 minutes, get on and knock it out. Let's keep it rolling, man. But other than that, good job, fellas.
All right. We'll catch y'all. Peace out, y'all.